is Nikitas. I live in Los Angeles. I'm an academic administrator, and I have a private practice on the side that's quite unconventional, where I curate events, host happenings, bring people together. Call myself a curator of moments. It works by doing what seems really natural to me, by facilitating opportunities for people to present the best parts of themselves. That could be actually in a social setting, so seeing the value of a dinner party and being very selective about who I bring together, to creating what I'm calling assemblies, where I co-curate with another person a gathering in cities around the world. Well, so far they're in Europe, they've been in Europe, and selecting who comes to the event and what the agenda for the event is. I also have curated content for conferences, who's speaking at the event, how can I help facilitate a good experience at the conference. No, so in San Francisco it stopped a few years ago, and actually I would say unfortunately, because it was an alternative conference and it was doing well, it was building momentum, and then they ended up not moving forward with it. But while it was on for the 4 years, it was great. So I fell into teaching because it was a job that allowed me to have practice that was culturally based. So I didn't have, the security was really appealing. And then what I started to see, not from teaching, but from administrating, that was a form of a design practice. And I really loved that I could design this living and breathing thing. I've actually said this several times, and it continues to be true, that you construct something so meaningful that it affects lives, and you create opportunities for faculty, institutions, and individuals that is really transformative. So I went from creating ephemera to creating opportunities and environments for change, and it's been the right thing for me. So I started teaching 29 years ago, but then 23 years ago I started in administration, or 20 years ago I started chairing programs, and then I never looked back. And so I don't teach that much now. I find faculty who can do it better. I think that is such a good question, and the answer could go on for a long time. And I say that because there's all these different categories in which they've changed, so I'll just take one. The cost of education has grown exponentially. So when I was a student, there was a tremendous amount of faith and exploration and risk-taking, and it was okay if you didn't know what was going to happen after you received your degree. You just took the leap of faith. But that's what when you invest a couple $1,000s a year, that's what you have. And then the spirit of education is very open and free. You go to school to develop as a human being. Now, people are investing so much. Like 1 year now is the same as all of my undergrad and my grad put together. Just 1 year, and that I actually think it would be more for 1 year. So now families are mortgaging their house, and there's the level of pressure on a student to engage in exercises in the classroom. It's shifted, because the question isn't, how long can I play? It's more, what am I going to get from this, and is this going to get me a successful career? So as an educator, asking them, please suspend those questions. Please just embrace that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I would never say that any education is something you shouldn't pursue. I'd say if you have a desire to pursue anything, do it. I believe in a creative education for two reasons. I believe what you learn in a curriculum that's about problem solving can give you a very interesting professional life and even a personal life. So there's that. Yeah, but I have a flip side to that. I'm actually not interested in graphic design as it was for me. I'm interested in design thinking, and I don't mean strategic, no form making design. I mean, you know, I'm actually very interested in, when I was a student, I was told how things should be and what they should look like, and that this is right and that's wrong. Now, I think that we have so many voices coming to the classroom from different parts of the neighborhood, the globe, corners of the world, that we can say, maybe we've learned our lesson, and we want to ask you, how do you see the world? How do we need to start to develop the future through the perspective of a student or somebody living in this neighborhood or coming from this world? And so I think education has shifted for the better in that way. And so the fact that somebody could come in and say, look, education remains at its core about developing as an individual. Like, I want to become a more civic-minded, culturally engaged, thoughtful, critical individual. And so if you choose design, you know, that's fantastic. And our students at where I am now, at Otis College, we really ask them to look at their role in solving big problems. You know, how can you make a difference in the world, not just make objects that aren't considered meaningful or opportunities to get people to think differently. On occasion, maybe not always. They kept sending me a contract. I mean, I really like what I do, and I've been at 4 different institutions, and I've learned different things at those institutions, and I really appreciate being in a place where everybody's striving to be better. And I'm stimulated all the time by the students and the faculty. I feel so fortunate to have colleagues who love what they do, who kind of do things that I can no longer do. There are some questions I can't ask, and there are ways of seeing that I don't see. And getting back to one thing that I mentioned earlier, I just don't I don't put a lot of weight in objects that are made. The artifact is not that interesting to me. It's not, I like them, but I don't judge them like I used to judge them, because they're the result of some process, and the process is the most interesting thing. So when I tell a student, you know, you're making this thing, but it's one of many, you know, and yours matters also. Because again, when you come from a place where like this is what's going to be celebrated, this is what's going to have value, you're striving to be, you know, the best. That was actually one of your things. I forgot one of the 2 words. And I was raised to believe there's one winner. I don't think that anymore. There's enough. There's many winners. We all can participate. We all have value. And let's give a moment and let these people say something, and let's pay attention to what they're saying. Okay, so I went to graduate school out here, and I always wanted to come back here, and I believe that every city has something to offer, and coincidentally, Los Angeles has everything I want in a city. I'm mad for it. I love it. I am never leaving. I love the people. Everybody wants to visit. I feel like I'm on vacation. I invite people to come for visiting artists opportunities. They forget where I teach. They just say yes when I say Los Angeles. And it's been great. It's really, yeah, the weather and all of it. As obvious as this may sound, I do feel that it is the place where anything can happen. I think it has a long history of experimentation. You know, Walt Disney actually set this spirit for where I went to school, Cal Arts, you know, where just think outside of the box and be outside of the box. I also think the sun has a lot to do with the fact that color palettes are chosen, what people wear. Anyway, I just think it's a really creative, incredible place. And I think that the city not only asks for experimentation architecturally in the arts and design. I mean, now the city is being so recognized for contemporary art. That wasn't always the case. When I finished school, everybody moved to New York. Now people want to stay here. And I think part of that is people wanting to have a better lifestyle. So in this day and age, people are wanting more balance. They want to have the sun. I mean, we were joking last night that I see 20-year-olds in Venice on a bicycle, and I think, you know, what are they doing? Shouldn't they be working? Actually, no. They've managed a great life at 20, and I should have done the same thing when I was 20. You know, why? I feel like I live on vacation, and what's wrong with that? You know, so. Living in Los Angeles, actually. Living in Los Angeles, eating great food, being with the people who live here, who've chosen to be here, I find so inspiring and creative and entrepreneurial and willing to take risks on establishing a studio practice. And just enjoying the city. You know, I have to tell you, even when I was first here 30 years ago, I had this old Datsun 280Z when I was in grad school, beat up car, and I would drive down Sunset Boulevard, and I felt like I was in a Michael Mann movie. I mean, it's just like, for me, the city talks to me. It is really, it's an amazing place. And I actually live in a house that's, you know, that is a very nice example of inside, outside, and every day I get up, I can't believe I have my life here. So if I were to be here at 20, it may have taken a while to get to where I am today, but I'm sure that if I was here at 20, I mean, I was here at 24 to 26, so I would say don't ever leave.